Hi everyone, welcome to my Max Academy. In this video, we'll start with chapter 4 Quadratic Equation from 10th standard CBSE 10th standard Mathematics. So we will get started with the chapter. So before we understand what is a quadratic equation, we'll try to understand what is a quadratic polynomial, which you would have studied in the polynomials chapter. So first is quadratic polynomial. Quadratic polynomial. Now what is a quadratic polynomial? Once we understand what is a quadratic polynomial, then understanding quadratic equation, what is a quadratic equation is very easy. Now what is a quadratic polynomial? Quadratic polynomial, a polynomial of degree 2. A polynomial of degree 2 is called as quadratic polynomial. Quadratic polynomial. A polynomial of degree 2 is called as quadratic polynomial. For example, suppose some of the examples I'm writing. Suppose examples are, you can have something like this: x square minus 7x plus 10. Now it's a polynomial, and what is the degree of the polynomial? Degree is 2, because degree of the polynomial is defined as the highest power of the variable. Now what is the highest power of the variable? Here variable is x. What is the power of this? 2. Here what is the power of x? Which means 1. Nothing is there means 1 is there. I mean x power 1. Then 10. X itself is not there. If x itself is not there, then the power of x is 0. So what is the highest power? 2. Right? So these I had explained in polynomials video also, the polynomials chapter. So it is an example of a quadratic polynomial. We can have another one like 3x square minus 2x plus 1. This is again a quadratic polynomial. Right? Now, what is a quadratic equation? Quadratic equation means what? Or quadratic equation, or equations means many equations. What is a quadratic equation? Quadratic equation nothing but if you put the quadratic polynomial equal to 0, it becomes quadratic equation. So this is your quadratic polynomial, which is x square minus 7x plus 10. This quadratic polynomial, if I put equal to 0, then this is called as quadratic equation. Equation means you should have equal to something. So in the quadratic polynomial, if you take the quadratic polynomial and you put it equal to 0 or equal to some number, right, then it becomes a quadratic equation. Right? So we can have this also. I can put 3x square minus 2x plus 1. If you put equal to 0, then this is called as a quadratic equation, not quadratic polynomial. Here it is called as quadratic polynomial because there is no equal to sign here. Right? So now you understand what is a quadratic equation. Fine. So I'll write the general form of quadratic equation. General form of quadratic equation. So what is the general form of quadratic equation? How will the general form will look like? The general form is of the quadratic equation is like this. You can write here ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. This is called as general form of quadratic equation. So any equation in this form is called as, and also the condition, this is very important, a should not be equal to 0 and a comma b comma c are real numbers. Right? So any equation in the form ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, where a, b, c are real numbers, is called as a quadratic equation. Fine. Now let's see some more examples. Fine. So suppose examples of a quadratic equation. Suppose if I have first one. Suppose if I take, like I can take the same thing. So let's take this x square minus 7x plus 10 equal to 0. Now is it a quadratic equation? Is it a quadratic equation? That is the question. And what that we'll try to compare this with this and make sure that it satisfies all these conditions. Right? Now does this look like this form? Ax square plus bx plus c. So you write this general form is what? Ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. Does this look like the general form ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0? Yes. Then we should find what is A. What is A? A is the coefficient of x square. What is the coefficient of x square? 1. So A is 1. What is B? Coefficient of x. Compare this with this. So what is B? B is minus 7. Fine. Now what is C? C is 10. Right? So don't think B is 7. Many students do that. B should be written along with the sign. B is minus 7. Don't say 7. Compare A is 1. Don't say B is 7. B is minus 7. You have to say take always with the sign. I've seen many students making this mistake. They'll just take B equal to 7. Then we will not get the answer when you try to solve the problems. Right? So C is 10. So it is a quadratic equation. Therefore you say therefore it is a quadratic equation. So it's a quadratic equation. Therefore it is a quadratic equation. Now second one, suppose if I have the same thing, let's take the same thing, 3x square minus 2x plus 1 equal to 0. Now what does this look like the normal form ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0? Does this look like this? Yes. So what is A? Compare this with this, or take this, compare a square plus bx, compare this with this. What is A? A is 3. What is B? B is minus 2. You have to take along the side. B is minus 2 and C is C equal to 1. And A should not be equal to 0. And A is not equal to 0. Your B can be 0, C can be 0, but A should not be equal to 0. And A, B, C are numbers, real numbers. Fine. So therefore it is a quadratic equation. It is a quadratic equation. Clear? Now let's go to the one more example. Suppose third one. Suppose if I have an equation like this, suppose it is 5x square minus 1 equal to 0. 5x square minus 1 equal to 0. Now is it a quadratic equation? That's the question. Is it a quadratic equation? Now we'll try to compare this given equation with the general form of quadratic equation, ax square plus bx plus c, or this form. Now does this look like this? Does this look like this? Ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0? No, because I have 5x square minus 1. Then you cannot say it is not a quadratic equation because it is not in that form. We will try to see whether I can convert this into this form. Right? So this 5x square minus 1, I can write this as 5x square plus x term is not there. See, after x square I should get x. X is not there, so I can put 0x. Then this is minus 1 equal to 0. So I can write my 5x square minus 1 as 5x square plus 0x minus 1 equal to 0. So I have rewritten this equation. Now does this look like the general form of quadratic equation? Yes, this looks like this. Now what is A? A is 5. What is B? B is 0. B is the coefficient of x. What is C? C is 1? No, C is minus 1. You have to take along with the side. C is minus 1. Right? So therefore it is also a quadratic equation because it is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c. Right? So therefore it is a quadratic equation. Therefore it is a quadratic equation. Right? Now let's take another example. The example 4. Suppose if I have minus 9x square minus 8x or plus 8x equal to 0. Now the question is it a quadratic equation? Now if this has to be a quadratic equation, it should be in this form. Ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. It is not in this form because it has only 2 terms, but it has 3 terms. But doesn't mean that it is not a quadratic equation. We need to check whether I can rewrite this in this form. Can we rewrite this equation in this form? We will try that. So I can write this as minus 9x square plus 8x plus 0 equal to 0. I can put a plus 0 here. Minus 9 square plus 8x plus 0 equal to 0. So what I put a plus 0 because I wanted 3 terms here. So I had to put a 0 now. Now does this look like this form? Ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0? Yes. So we'll say it is of the form. It is of the form ax square plus bx, correct? Ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. So it is of the form ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. So now let's compare and see what is A. A equal to what? We'll compare this with the general form of quadratic equation. My A is minus 9. Comparing this, my A is minus 9. B is equal to 8. C is equal to 0. Right? A is equal to minus 9. B is equal to 8. And C is equal to, so don't say A is equal to 9. You should take along with the sign. Fine? So it is of this form. And A should not be equal to 0. That's why we are finding A, B, C. Your C is 0, but A is not equal to 0. So it is a, if it is in this form, we cannot say it is a quadratic equation. We should also make sure that the value of A is not equal to 0. Value of A is minus 9, which is not equal to 0. Therefore, it is a quadratic equation. Now let's take one more thing. The fifth one. Suppose if I have 4x square equal to 0. 4x square equal to 0. Now is it a quadratic equation? Now we should check whether does this look like this. Does this look like? Does 4x square look like this? Does it look like this in this form? No, but so can I convert that in the form of this? So 4x square can be written as 4x square plus 0x plus 0 equal to 0. Now because 4x square plus 0x plus 0 is what? 0 and x is 0x. This is also 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. 4x square plus 0, you will get 4x square back. So 4x square as such it doesn't look like this. But we can always rewrite that in this form so that 4x square looks like the general form of the quadratic equation. Fine. So now we'll say, now what is A? A is 4, B is 0, C is 0. Compare this. A is 4, B is 0, B is the coefficient of x. Now C is the constant of, that is also 0. So comparing this with this therefore we'll say A is not equal to 0. Your B and C can be 0. Your B and C can be 0, but your A should not be equal to 0 because that is the condition for this to be a quadratic equation. Any equation in this form, provided A is not equal to 0. But B and can be 0. B or B and can be anything. A can also be anything, any number. A, B, C can be any number. But A alone should not be equal to 0. B and C can be 0. So we'll see it is of the form. It is of the form ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0 and a is not equal to 0 because a is 4. Therefore, it is a quadratic equation. Therefore, it is a quadratic equation. Correct? Suppose I will take one more, probably the last example, just to show something which is not a quadratic equation. So let's take sixth one. Suppose if we take a polynomial as equation as 5x minus 3 equal to 0. 5x minus 3 is equal to 0. Now the question is it a quadratic equation? Now we should check whether does this look like this. No, but can I write it in this form? I can write this as 0x square plus 5x minus 3 equal to 0. Right? So I can write this 0x square means what? 0. So 5x minus 3 can be rewritten as 0x square plus 5x minus 3 equal to 0. Fine. So now comparing this with the general form, we get what? A is what? A is 0. So compare this with this. A is the coefficient of x square. So coefficient of x square is 0. Coefficient of x square is 0. So now the moment A it becomes 0, but A should not be equal to 0. That is a condition for the equation in this form to be a quadratic equation. But we are getting A equal to 0. So therefore we can say it is not a quadratic equation. Therefore it is not of the form. It is not of the form ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0 and a not equal to 0. It is not in this form because you cannot get a equal to 0, which means you cannot write this like this. You cannot put 0x square. For x square alone you cannot put 0 because then a will become 0. For other terms you can put 0, like here we have put 0x and 0. Here we have put 0x. Right? Here we have put 0. So for b and c you can put 0. but A you cannot put 0. Therefore, it is not a quadratic equation. It is not a quadratic equation. Clear? Is that fine? Right? So now we will continue with the example 1 in this chapter, which is in page number 71. I hope you all have understood what is a quadratic equation. Fine? So we will move on to the next section. Which is example 1 in page number 71 in your textbook. Page number 71 in your textbook. Example 1. So I will read that. So it says example 1, represent the following situation mathematically, and this example 1 has two problems basically. So we will do the first problem first, right? In example 1, first section, first sub problem. So the example 1 says represent the following situation mathematically. What is given? The situation given is John and Jivanti together have 45 marbles. Both of them lost 5 marbles each, and the product of the number of marbles now they have is 124. Now we would like to find out how many marbles they had to start with. How many marbles they had to start with, which means John and Jivanti, they have together 45 marbles, and each of them losing 5 marbles. After each of them lose 5 marbles, now the product of the number of marbles they have now is equal to 124. Now we would like to know how many marbles they had to start with. Now we need to represent this situation mathematically. We have to represent this situation mathematically, right? So there are two things. One is representing the situation mathematically. The second part is solving that and finding how many marbles John had, how many marbles Jivanti had. So here they are asking us to do only the first part, which is we need to represent this mathematically, which means we should get them in a equation form. We don't have to solve the equation now, because they said represent it mathematically. They are not saying solve it. So we'll do only the first part, which is representing it mathematically, which means we will have to find an equation for the given situation. We need not solve it. We can solve it. The later section will be solving the problem, right? Where they will say solve the problem. So here they said represent the situation mathematically, which means we should get an equation and stop, right? So now how do we do this? So we will say number of marbles John has. We don't know how many marbles John has or Jivanti has or had. So we'll say let's assume that let the number of marbles John had as X marbles. So John had X marbles. So Jivanti had a number of marbles Jivanti had. Number of marbles Jivanti had would be how much? Would be equal to 45 minus X. How 45 minus X? Because they say John and Jivanti together have 45 marbles. So together they have 45 marbles. John has X. So Jivanti will have how much? 45 minus X. The remaining number of marbles she will have. Clear? So for example, I'm just giving an example and then trying to explain this, how it is 45 minus X. Suppose you and your friend have together 45 rupees. Let's assume that you and your friend together have 45 rupees. Now you have 20 rupees. And how much your friend will have? 25 rupees. Because if you have 20 rupees and if the total is 45, your friend should have 25. So that if you add, you'll get 45. Right? So, or suppose if together both of you have 45 rupees. If you have 15 rupees, 15 rupees, then your friend will have 30 rupees. Because 30 plus 15 gives you 45. So if I know how much you have, I will always subtract the money that you have from 45 to get the money that your friend will have. So if you have 15 rupees, your friend will have 45 minus 15, which is 30. If you have 20 rupees, your friend will have 45 minus 20, which is 25 rupees. If you have x rupees, then your friend will have 45 minus x. 45 minus x. Right? So that if you add both x plus 45 minus x, you'll get 45. Right? If you do this, x plus what John has plus what Jivanti has. If I add them, x plus 45 minus x, x will go 45 marbles you will get. Right? So whenever you get a situation like this, right? If you know how much two people have together, and if you know how much one person has, the remaining can be got by subtracting from the total how much that one person has to get the number of marbles the other person has. So together they have 45. Both together they have 45 marbles. So if John has x, Jivanti have 45 minus x. Now both of them have lost 5 marbles. So both have lost 5 marbles. Both have lost 5 marbles. When both of them lose 5 marbles, now how much marbles they have now? Because they said, the second condition they said both of them lost 5 marbles each. So when both of them lose 5 marbles each, now how many marbles John has? So John now has how many marbles? He lost 5. Initially he had x. He lost 5, which means it will become x minus 5. John will have now x minus 5. Fine. Now how much marble Jivanti has? Jivanti now has how many marbles? She also lost 5 marbles. So initially she had 45 minus x. Initially she had 45 minus x. Now she will have 45 minus x minus 5 because she lost 5 marbles. She also lost 5 marbles. So from her total I have to subtract minus 5. So John also had lost 5 marbles. So he had x, it became x minus 5. Jivanti had 45 minus x, that also became 45 minus x minus 5 because she also lost 5. Right? So John now has x minus 5 marbles. Jivanti will have 45 minus x minus 5 marbles. Now what is 45 minus x minus 5? You can simplify this. So this will become 45 minus 5 is 40. This is minus x. So Jivanti has 40 minus x marbles now, after losing 5 marbles. So John has x minus 5 now after losing 5 marbles. Jivanti has 40 minus x after losing 5 marbles. Now what we need to do is, now let's go and read the question again. So the question says, both of them have lost 5 marbles each and the product of the number of marbles they have now is 124. Now we have to take the product of the number of marbles they have now. Product means we have to multiply the number of marbles. So we have to take the number of marbles John has, multiply that with number of marbles Jivanti has. Now that product should be equal to 124. So which means we have to take the number of marbles John has, which is x minus 5, multiply that with 40 minus x, that is equal to 124. This is what is given in the question. If you multiply the number, if you find the product of the number of marbles John has and Jivanti has now, that is equal to 124. That's what the question says. So now we need to simplify this equation. So we'll multiply. So how do we multiply these two? So x into 40, right? So 40x. Then x into minus x is minus x square. Then minus 5 into this into this. Minus 5 into 40 is minus 200. And minus 5 into minus x is plus 5x. So this into this. And that is equal to 124. Now I'll take this minus x square. Then 40x plus 5x will become 45x. 40x plus 5x will become 45. This is minus 200 equal to 124. So I'll have minus x square plus 45x minus 200. We'll bring this minus 24 also this side. It will become minus 124 equal to 0, because we want to make sure that we have equal to 0 in the right hand side. So this is minus x square plus 45x. 200 minus 24 is minus 324 equal to 0. Equal to 0. Now what we can do is we can even cancel throughout by minus. The minus is there. We can cancel throughout by minus. We generally don't want to have minus in the x square term. Even if it is there, nothing wrong with that. But generally we write without the minus. So you change all the sign. You can change all the sign together. If you have equal to 0 here, you can change all the sign. So this minus, or which means it is same as dividing by minus 1 throughout. Right? Same as dividing by minus 1. If I divide by minus 1, this will become minus x square by minus 1 plus 45x by minus 1. So which means each term we are dividing by minus 1. Because we want to make this as positive. So then minus 324 by minus 1 equal to 0 by minus 1. Equal to 0 by minus 1. Fine. Now this will get cancelled. You will get x square. Then this is minus minus will go. This plus by minus is minus 45x. Minus 324 by minus 1. Again minus minus will get cancelled. You will get plus 324 equal to 0. So now what we have done is we have represented the given situation in this form. So this is mathematically we have represented the given situation, which is the mathematical representation of mathematical representation of the given situation. Which is the mathematical representation of the given situation. This is the mathematical representation. So whatever they have given in the question, right, in English, we have put them in mathematics. This is the mathematical, which is the mathematical representation of the given situation. Fine. Right, now we will do the second part of this question. Second question. In the first example itself, we have the next question. So what it talks about is, I'll write it here. Second question is in the same example 1. Right, that also we have to represent that in the mathematical form. Mathematically we have to represent it. So what it says is, a cottage industry, I'm reading example 1, second subdivision. A cottage industry produces a certain number of toys in a day. The cost of production of each toy in rupees was found to be 55 minus the number of toys produced in a day. On a particular day, the total cost of the production was rupees 750. Now we'd like to find out the number of toys produced on that day. So we have to represent this situation mathematically, which means there is a cottage industry. It produces a certain number of toys in a day. And the cost of production of each toy was found to be 55 minus the number of toys produced in a day. On a particular day, the total cost of production was 750. We would like to find out the number of toys produced on that day. Right? So we need to know how many toys were produced on that day. We need to represent this situation mathematically. We don't have to solve it. See, here in the previous problem, we have represented this situation mathematically. Now we can solve this equation and find the value of x. So that is not asked in this question. So we'll stop here. Later questions, where they will say solve and find how many marbles John and Javanti has, then we will do in that case. If they don't say solve it, we will not solve it. They said just represent it mathematically. Represent it mathematically means get an equation and stop. Don't solve, because they have not asked us to solve in this question. So similarly here also we should get a equation and then we should stop. Fine. So now we'll say we'll assume that let the number of toys produced in a day is equal to x. The number of toys produced in a day is x. Suppose that cottage industry is producing x number of toys in a day. We'll keep that. Now what they have said, they said cost of producing one toy. So cost of production of one toy. Cost of production of one toy is equal to how much they said? They said the cost of production of one toy was found to be 55 minus the number of toys produced in a day. So that is equal to 55 minus The number of toys produced in a day. How many toys were produced in a day? X number of toys. So it is 55 minus X. Right? So what they have said, the cost of production of one toy, that is given in the question. Cost of production of one toy is equal to 55 minus the number of toys produced in a day. And we assume the number of toys produced in a day as X. That we don't know. Number of toys produced in a day we don't know. We have assumed it as X. So the cost of production of one toy is what? It is given as, in the question they said the cost of production of a toy is 55 minus the number of toys produced in a day. So which means 55 minus X, because X is the number of toys produced in a day. Now the total cost of the production in a particular day is 750 that they have given in the question. So the total production cost in a day equal to 750 rupees. They said total production cost was total cost of production. Total production cost in a day is rupees 750 that they have given in the question. Now how will you find the total production in a day? Total production cost in a day. Total production cost in a day is how many toys you produce in a day into the cost of one toy. Right? Number of toys into, this is the cost of one toy. Cost of one toy. One toy cost into the number of toys that we produce. That will give the total cost, total production cost. What is the total cost of production of X toys? That will be equal to the number of toys into, that is X, into the cost of production of one toy, which is 55 minus X. And you have to put that in the bracket. Right? This is into multiplication. X into 55 minus X. Or we can just write it as X. X into this. That is equal to 750. X, if I don't put anything, then you have multiplication sign. Into is there. So X is the number of toys produced in a day, and this is the cost of one toy. Number of toys into cost of one toy will give you the total cost, which is 750 that they have given. Now we should multiply this. So X into 55 is 55X. X into minus X is minus X square, equal to, this is 750. Now we will bring everything to one side. So I'll write first the X square terms. This is minus X square. I'll write this first, then 55X plus 55X. Then this minus, so plus 750 is coming this side, it will become minus 750 equal to 0. Now again I told you, it is better to keep always the coefficient of X square as positive, but here it is negative. So we will divide. The moment you see the coefficient of X square as negative in any quadratic equation problem, you divide throughout by minus 1. So divide by minus 1 throughout. Then what do we get? We get minus X square by minus 1 plus 55X by minus 1 minus 750 by minus 1 equal to 0 by minus 1. So you have to divide every term by minus 1. Even 0 should be divided by minus 1. Every term in this equation should be divided by minus 1. Now then minus will go. Minus will get cut. You will get X square. Here plus by minus is minus 55X. Here also plus and minus will get cancelled. You will get plus 750. Now minus 750 by minus 1 is plus 750 equal to, now 0 by minus 1 is 0. Don't put minus 0 because 0 does not have any sign. So now we have got an equation. Which means we have represented the given situation mathematically. So we'll say which is the mathematical representation of the given situation. Which is the mathematical representation of given situation. Clear? So we don't have to solve. This because they asked us to just represent it mathematically. So once you get the equation, that is a mathematical representation of the given situation. So whatever the story that they have given, like they talked about a cottage industry producers and all that, that is given in English. That situation we have converted in the mathematical form. So mathematically it is equal to this. Fine. So I will stop here and we will continue the rest, example 2 and other problems in the next video. You can watch my next video for the continuation of this. Thank you for watching. Yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.